I was with my wife at a concert. As it neared the end, she suddenly vanished. By the time I got outside, she and the car were gone. I called her again and again. Finally, someone picked up, but it was Leo's voice on the other end. "Alex, my man. Chloe's driving right now, can't talk." He hung up before I could say a word. The concert ended, and still no call back from my wife. I tried again. Her phone was off. When I got home, I saw Leo's latest post on social media. I mentioned offhand that I wanted to check out the night market, and Chloe immediately came to pick me up. "So happy. Love you." The accompanying photo was of Leo hugging a stuffed animal, his face pressed against my wife Chloe's. This time, I didn't get angry. Instead, I called my lawyer and asked him to draft a divorce agreement. Chloe didn't call until 2 in the morning. Her annoyed voice crackled through the phone. "What do you want? Why do you keep calling? It's so irritating." Any worry I had for her evaporated. "My mistake," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "I'm a fool. I'll never call you again." She sounded put out. "Fine, don't. See if I care." Then she heard the sound of my key in the lock. "You're just getting home now? Why so late? Were you out with another woman?" After the concert, the crowd was a nightmare. Since she'd taken the car, I had to wait in a taxi line until after 1 a.m. Before I could explain, she was already giving me orders. "Hurry up and iron my clothes. I need them for tomorrow." "You're not coming home tonight?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Leo rarely comes to visit. Of course I have to spend more time with him." I could faintly hear Leo's voice in the background. "Chloe, let's share an ice cream, okay? We shouldn't waste it." "Okay," Chloe chirped back. A reflexive panic seized me. "Your period is in a few days," I reminded her. "Ice cream is too cold. You'll get terrible cramps." Her menstrual pain was severe, often leaving her bedridden for the first 2 days. I was always extra careful with her diet before her cycle. "A little bite won't kill me," she snapped. "You're such a nag." Leo took the phone, his voice a sickeningly sweet whine. "Alex, I'm so sorry. I wasn't being thoughtful enough. I made Chloe leave you at the concert all by yourself, and now I'm letting her eat ice cream. You must be really upset with me." The way he called her by her first name, so familiarly, was a blatant display of his intentions. "What's he got to be upset about?" Chloe said, defending him. "He didn't have to drive us, and he still got to see the show. He should be grateful." "It's just that I missed Chloe so much. I came to see her on an impulse." Leo continued his performance. "It was wrong of me not to tell you first. If you're going to blame someone, blame me." "I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize to him," Chloe huffed. "It's my freedom where I go. I don't need to report to him." "Chloe, it's my fault. I've made you two fight." I silently hung up, letting them continue their soap opera. Chloe adored the artist at tonight's concert. To surprise her, I had pulled countless strings to get 2 front-row tickets. I'd prepared glow sticks and banners, and even hired a makeup artist to do a special concert look for her. I'd recently had minor heart surgery, and my doctor had explicitly told me to avoid late nights and loud noises. But I went anyway, just to be with her, to take pictures for her. All my effort, it seemed, couldn't compete with a single phone call from Leo. After a shower, I was scrolling through my phone before bed when a message from a friend popped up. "Dude, how can you stand this?" The screen filled with photos. Chloe, straddling Leo's lap, feeding him a drink. Chloe, grinding against Leo on a dance floor. Leo, adjusting the strap of Chloe's bra. Leo, tipping Chloe's chin up, their faces inches apart. From every angle, in every shared glance, their eyes burned with a raw, unmistakable lust. Our marriage had been spoiling for a long time. I had just been lying to myself, pretending she wasn't cheating, pretending she still loved me. I gave a bitter laugh and typed back to my friend, already writing the divorce papers. He replied instantly. "For real? Man, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this marriage has held you back for too long. You're wasting your talent being a teacher in her small hometown. Come join my company. We'll make a fortune together." When I graduated, I had offers from top firms, but to be closer to Chloe, I followed her back to her hometown without a second thought. While she learned the ropes of her family's business, I became an art teacher at a local middle school. My old classmates were building empires with their talent, while I, under Chloe's constant emotional manipulation, became smaller and smaller. As Chloe chose Leo over me, again and again, I finally woke up. With the semester ending, I submitted my resignation to the school. The next morning, before my alarm even went off, a reeking of alcohol Chloe was shaking me awake. "Get up and make me some hangover soup. I feel like I'm going to die." I yawned, my eyes blurry with sleep. Her hair was a mess, and through the open collar of her shirt, I could see suspicious red marks on her neck. She noticed my gaze and instinctively pulled her collar closed. I didn't ask what she'd done last night. I didn't care. Whoever you were out playing with can make it for you. I mumbled, pulling the covers over my head. She ripped the blanket off me. I'm just asking you to make some soup. What is your problem? You're not like Leo. He gives me whatever I want. All you do is sleep. You have no consideration for me, coming home after being out all night. If Leo wasn't worried you'd be upset, I wouldn't have even bothered coming back to this dump. And why did you hang up on me last night? Do you know Leo cried all night because of that? I had to stay up and comfort him. If you hadn't started trouble, I wouldn't have had to pull an all-nighter. Somehow, she had twisted everything around to make it my fault. Classic Chloe. She was militant about her beauty sleep, demanding absolute silence and darkness after 10 p.m. I wasn't allowed to do anything. My nightlife had ceased to exist after we got married. If I had work to finish, I had to do it crouched by the front door. But for Leo, she broke all her rules. On his birthday, she would stay up until midnight to wish him well, then chat with him until dawn. I had once envied him for being the exception. I asked for the same treatment on my birthday and was met with a roll of her eyes. Leo's a kid. He likes that sentimental stuff. You're 4 years older than him. You want that too? Don't make me laugh. It wasn't that she couldn't stay up late. She just couldn't stay up late for me. It wasn't that she couldn't be sentimental. I just wasn't worthy of it. She was still rambling. For the sake of peace and quiet, I got up and made her the soup. When I came out, she had passed out on the bed in her dirty clothes from the night before. Her phone, discarded beside her, was lighting up with incoming calls. I ignored it and went to get ready for work. The old me would have cleaned her up, changed her into comfortable pajamas. But I was tired. Leo had once again shown me exactly where I stood. In the principal's office, he asked, "Mr. Davis, are you absolutely sure?" I nodded firmly. The principal sighed, giving up, and signed my papers. I submitted my resignation to the Education Bureau. Barring any complications, I would be free in a month. When my friend heard the news, he immediately sent me a project. As I reviewed the client's files, a long-lost spark ignited in my eyes. The workday felt lighter than it had in years. To celebrate my impending new life, I decided to treat myself to a snail noodle hot pot and a big, stinky durian for dinner. Chloe had a sensitive nose and hated the smell of those things. I remember one time I was eating durian at home when she came back early from a business trip. She flew into a rage, threatening to kick me out if I ever ate something so disgusting in the house again. For years, to accommodate her, I had given up so many small joys. Around noon, Chloe called, her tone sharp. "Why didn't you come home to make lunch today?" Chloe was a picky eater but loved my cooking. Whenever I had time, I'd create elaborate meals for her. When she first took over her family's company, she was so stressed she often forgot to eat, losing 10 pounds in 2 weeks. When I returned from a training course, she cried in my arms about how terrible takeout was, begging me to make her lunch to bring to the office. I couldn't bear to see her suffer, so I sacrificed my own lunch breaks to cook for her and deliver it. Rain or shine, I never missed a day. At first, she was touched, but soon, she took it for granted, even having me pack lunches for her assistants. Busy cooking for them, I often skipped my own lunch, eventually developing stomach problems. But I was still lost in love, and I told myself it was worth it. Looking back now, selfish people don't deserve love. "I won't be making lunch anymore," I said calmly. "You'll have to figure it out yourself." I didn't wait for a reply. A loud crack, followed by a dial tone, told me she had smashed her phone. I worked late, so my hot pot plan was ruined, but I still bought a carefully selected durian. When I got home with it, I braced myself for a storm, but the apartment was silent. The shattered remains of her phone on the floor were a testament to her afternoon fury. I cleaned up the mess. A moment later, a message from Chloe popped up on my tablet. "Don't think I can't eat without you." The attached video showed a table laden with delicious-looking food. At the end of the clip, Leo appeared in an apron, awkwardly stirring a wok. It was hard to believe he had cooked that feast. I calmly closed the tablet and began to enjoy my durian. Chloe didn't return until almost midnight. She tossed a greasy takeout bag in front of me. "Leo said you should try his cooking too. See how considerate he is? He worked hard all day cooking for me, and he still remembered to share with you." She happily sashayed toward the bathroom, still on a video call with Leo. Disgusted, I opened the bag. It was full of leftovers and scraps, a clear attempt to humiliate me. I was about to throw it away when I noticed the familiar logo on the container. It was from my favorite takeout place. I pulled up the video she'd sent me. The dishes: spicy fish head, stir-fried pork with chili, scrambled eggs with preserved vegetables. They were all the signature dishes of a popular Hunan restaurant in town. When Chloe came out of the bathroom and saw the bag in the trash, her face darkened. "We specifically saved that for you, and you threw it away? What is wrong with you?" I couldn't help but expose Leo's lie. Chloe threw down her towel and launched into a defense. "You're just jealous. Jealous that he's a better cook than you, so you're trying to slander him. Well, don't bother. I will always trust him, unconditionally." She paused, then added, "And so what if he lied? At least he's willing to put in the effort to make me happy. Unlike you, you're so boring." I laughed, a cold, hollow sound. I looked straight at her. "In that case," I said, my words sharp and clear, "let's get a divorce. You can go find the more interesting Leo." Chloe suddenly burst out laughing. "Alex, do you even know what you're saying? A divorce? You're trying to use divorce to get my attention? That's pathetic. Do you think you're still the big man on campus? Who would want a pathetic middle school teacher like you? You're nothing but a pretty boy I keep around." She changed her clothes, grabbed her bag, and stormed out. A wave of bitterness washed over me. For years, I had compromised, swallowed my pride, all for the dream of a happy family. In her eyes, I was just a freeloader. A teacher's salary wasn't much compared to a CEO's, but it wasn't insignificant, and I had a steady side income. Other than living in the house her parents bought us, I had never asked her for a penny. In fact, I'd spent nearly all my income on her. But she never saw any of it. A few days later, Chloe's assistant called me in a panic. "Mr. Davis, have you seen Miss Thompson? I can't reach her at all today." "Missing?" I was about to call her when I saw Leo had updated his social media. He and Chloe were at Disneyland, watching the fireworks. They were at a cat cafe, at a private cinema, hiking, camping. They were doing everything a couple would do. She wasn't missing. She was just having fun. I told her assistant, who sighed in frustration. Chloe hadn't been to the office in days, delaying key decisions. She had even missed a meeting with a major client, who was now threatening to pull their contract, likely resulting in a massive loss. I just said, "Oh," and went back to my class. It wasn't that I was heartless. She had made it clear she didn't want me involved in her company. Once, I had glanced at some documents she brought home. "Why? Are you spying on my company files?" she had snapped. "Are you trying to take my job? Or sell our secrets to a competitor?" Ever since becoming CEO, she had become paranoid, always assuming the worst of me. Back then, I blamed myself, thinking I hadn't given her enough security. Only now, with clear eyes, did I realize it was her control, her manipulation. The photos of their travels kept coming. They went from domestic trips to international ones. The second week, they were in Italy. Italy, the one place I had always dreamed of visiting. Its architecture, its art, the Vatican Museum, they called to me. I had asked Chloe to go with me once. She had wrinkled her nose. "You want to travel all that way just to look at a museum?" she'd said, completely uninterested. "I see now. It's only with someone you don't love that everything becomes uninteresting." The third week, my father-in-law called, demanding to know why Chloe wasn't at work, blaming me for not supervising her. He blamed me for the company's falling revenue, suggesting it was because she was too busy taking care of me. He demanded I meet him for dinner to explain myself. I refused, but he and my mother-in-law showed up at my school. The principal asked me to handle it quietly. I took them to a nearby restaurant, but they complained it wasn't nice enough. I ended up driving them to a Michelin-starred place. "What is going on?" my father-in-law demanded as we waited for our food. I knew they disliked me. The feeling was mutual, but out of respect for their age, I explained the situation with Chloe. When I mentioned Leo, a flicker of awkwardness crossed their faces. "That's enough," my father-in-law cut me off. "I'll tell Chloe to stop seeing that punk. Let's eat." So, they knew about Leo. The rest of the meal was uncharacteristically quiet. I didn't bother to question why. "Alex, get in. I'll take you to dinner." It was Chloe, smiling from the driver's seat of my car. It was pouring rain, and I was waiting for a rideshare. Despite everything, I opened the passenger door. Leo was sitting there. I stepped back, making my refusal clear. Chloe got out of the car, her voice uncharacteristically patient, pleading with me to get in. Seeing the rain soak her clothes, my damn heart softened. The car reeked of a strong men's cologne. I subtly covered my nose, but Leo noticed. "Like the cologne Chloe bought me, Alex," he simpered. "Want me to share?" I ignored him, instead grabbing a pink box of men's underwear from the back seat. It wasn't mine, and tossed it at him. It accidentally grazed his eye, leaving a small, bloody scratch. Chloe slammed on the brakes. Unbuckled, I flew forward, my head hitting the seat in front of me. The world swam. She was frantic, hovering over Leo, her face red with anger, about to scream at me. Leo held her, whispering in her ear. She visibly calmed down. "All right, I'll be direct," she said, turning to me. "I came to ask you to do Leo's graduation project for him. I was going to treat you to dinner, but now that you've heard him, you can do his project as an apology." A sharp TCH escaped my lips. If you have time to sleep with another man's wife, you have time to do your own schoolwork. Cheating on your final project? That's pathetic. Leo's face went dark. "You watch your mouth," Chloe snapped. "Leo and I are just friends. Stop slandering us. Asking you to help him is a compliment. Do you know how many people would kill for this opportunity? I turned them all down to give you a chance to prove yourself." I looked her straight in the eye. "Then leave me alone." I got out of the car. The rain was heavier now, each drop a sting of cold, clarifying pain. I had only taken a few steps when I felt a sharp impact on the back of my head. Chloe, enraged that I had hurt her precious Leo, had taken a tennis racket from the trunk and hit me. I blacked out. She drove away, leaving me unconscious in the rain. A passerby called an ambulance. I woke up in the hospital. The nurse told me I had a mild concussion and asked for my family's contact information. "I'm a widower," I said numbly. She looked at me with pity and suggested I file a police report. I refused. It was the last shred of mercy I had for Chloe. After being discharged, I rushed home to pack. I couldn't stand being in that house, tainted with her presence, for another second. As I reached for the door, I heard them, the sounds of a man and a woman, moaning in pleasure. Wave after wave. I froze, thunderstruck. My wife had assaulted me, left me for dead, and was now in our home with another man. Bile rose in my throat. The sounds subsided, replaced by whispers. "Chloe, you've been married to Alex for so long. Why no kids? Is he not as good as me?" Leo's voice was smug. "I didn't want kids, so I got my tubes tied. But my parents were pressuring me, so I swapped his medical report and told him he had a 0 sperm count. I made him take the blame. He actually believed it. For years, he's felt so guilty. He's been completely devoted to me." Leo roared with laughter. "You're so bad. I love it." The words sent a tremor through my entire body. After we got married, we tried for a baby for years with no success. We went for tests together. When Chloe showed me the report and told me I was sterile, my world collapsed. My dream of being a father was shattered, and I was consumed by guilt. My in-laws treated me with contempt, urging Chloe to divorce me and find a man who could give her children. Chloe, in a grand display, fought with them, even giving them the silent treatment for a while. I was moved to tears, vowing to love her and cherish her for the rest of my life. And now, she was telling another man it was all a lie, a scam to avoid having children. I wanted to burst in, to rip the ugly truth from her lips. But I couldn't bring myself to open that door. I fled. I sat in the community garden for a long time, the years of our life together flashing before my eyes. In my sophomore year of college, my parents died in an accident. I lost myself in grief, even contemplated suicide. One night, drunk on the school's athletic field, I met a heartbroken Chloe. Her pain over a breakup seemed even greater than my own. She snatched my bottle and drank it dry, eventually passing out on a bench. When the sun rose, its soft light fell on her tear-streaked face. She was beautiful. From that moment, I was determined to win her over. I spent 2 years as her devoted follower, and finally, on graduation day, she agreed to be my girlfriend. We got married 2 years later. We had known each other for 10 years, been married for 6. I had seen her at her most beautiful. Now, I had seen her at her most vile. Back in the apartment, looking at the sofa, I could almost see their entangled bodies. I fought back the urge to vomit and packed my things as quickly as I could. I had just checked into a hotel when my phone buzzed. A reminder for our anniversary. I stared at the screen, lost in a daze. We had both loved grand gestures. We used to travel to a new place every year for our anniversary, exchanging meaningful gifts. One year, we both bought each other tickets to a Taylor Swift concert. I proposed to her there. At our wedding, she had said, "I hope we always stay in love and rely on each other." I don't know when it happened, but her love had vanished, replaced by a cold disgust. I deleted the reminder and sent the divorce papers to Chloe. I was done waiting for a love that wasn't there. My colleagues insisted on a farewell dinner. While we were out, I saw her, Chloe, with a brand-clad Leo, shopping in a high-end men's clothing store. She fussed over his collar, smoothed his hair, the picture of a doting girlfriend. One of my colleagues noticed them. "If I didn't know that was Mr. Davis's wife," she said, "I'd think they were the real couple." It was obvious to anyone with eyes. Only she and Leo seemed to think they were fooling the world. My colleague, realizing her slip, started to apologize. I shook my head. "It's okay. Soon, she won't be my wife anymore." At dinner, I talked with my colleagues, realizing with a start how much of my life I had lived in this city. "We always thought you were too talented to be just a teacher," one of them said, raising his glass. "We're happy you're finally putting yourself and your career first." A strange sense of nostalgia for the city washed over me, a feeling that had nothing to do with Chloe. As we were leaving the mall, my male colleague went back to the restaurant to get his wife's forgotten purse. The two of them were a famously happy couple, married for 7 years. While we waited, Chloe and Leo appeared, sharing an ice cream cone. Her eyes darted between me and my female colleague, suspicion hardening her face. She thought, but I didn't bother to explain. She lunged at me, slapping me across the face and kicking me twice. "Alex, you've got some nerve. Shopping with another woman. You live in my house, eat my food, and you dare to cheat on me? You shameless bastard. I'm going to report you to the education board. Let's see what they think of an adulterous teacher." "And you slut," she screeched, turning on my colleague. "You look so innocent, but you're just a homewrecker. You'll get what's coming to you." She raised her hand to strike, but I stepped in front of my colleague. The surrounding crowd began to murmur their condemnation of me. "Hey, who's messing with my wife?" A booming voice cut through the noise. My male colleague, a PE teacher nearly 6 feet 3 inches and built like a tank, had returned. The crowd went silent. "We're having dinner with a colleague," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "How does that make us adulterers in your mouth? Do you have any idea the damage your words can do? Apologize to my wife and my friend, or I'm suing you for slander." If not for the crowd, I know my colleague would have let me handle it privately. But Chloe's public outburst, aimed at 2 tenured teachers, could have serious repercussions if not handled properly. Seeing the tide turn, Chloe ran to me, grabbing my sleeve, her eyes welling with tears. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice small. She knew how to play me. A little show of vulnerability, and I would always fold. But that was the old me. The me who hadn't yet had his heart completely crushed. I pulled my arm away. "You made this mess," I said coldly. "You can clean it up. And you do owe us an apology." Her face went black. "Alex, I saw the divorce papers. I thought you were just being foolish. I'll even forgive you for ganging up on me with outsiders today. But if you keep looking at me with that cold expression, I will actually divorce you." A smile touched my lips, devoid of any warmth or affection. "That suits me just fine. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow." Her face contorted with the rage of someone who has lost control. "Fine. Don't you regret this, Alex? Tomorrow, Civil Affairs Bureau. Whoever doesn't show is a coward." She turned to leave, but was blocked by my colleague. She looked desperately at Leo for help. He was engrossed in his phone, doing his best to blend in with the crowd. As more people gathered, she bit her lip, her face a mask of fury. "I was wrong," she muttered. "I accused you without knowing the facts. I'm sorry." She fled, nearly running into a glass door in her haste. Leo scurried after her. Back at the hotel, I messaged Chloe to confirm a time to meet at the bureau. A second later, a voice message popped up. It was Leo. "Alex, my man. Chloe's in the shower. I'll make sure she's there on time." Only then did I finally fall asleep. I dreamed we were back on the athletic field, the night we first met. At dawn, the light once again fell on her beautiful face. I leaned in to kiss her, but her face cracked open, and a swarm of foul-smelling rats poured out. I woke with a start. It was just before dawn. I arrived at the bureau on time. Chloe and Leo were already there. "Took you long enough," she sneered. "I thought you were going to chicken out." From an angle she couldn't see, Leo shot me a look of pure triumph. When he turned back to me, his face was the familiar mask of cloying sincerity. "Alex, I'm so sorry. I never meant to break up your marriage. I just love Chloe so much. After you're divorced, I promise I'll take good care of her. I'll be a good husband. And," he added, a cruel glint in his eye, "Chloe's pregnant. When our baby is born, I'll make sure he calls you godfather." I nodded, fighting the urge to smash his face in. We got our divorce certificates without a hitch. As we walked out, Leo, smirking, started to say something else to provoke me. I had had enough of this disgusting man. I put all my strength into a punch that connected squarely with his jaw, following it with a vicious kick. Chloe didn't love me. I could accept that. I had tolerated Leo for her sake, but he had pushed me too far. As a man, I couldn't swallow this one last insult. Chloe stared, stunned. She couldn't believe that the man who had always been to her was capable of violence. When she recovered, she threatened to call the police. Before she could dial, several police officers surrounded us. One of them flashed a badge. "Excuse me, are you Chloe Thompson and Leo Vance?" Before we could process what was happening, they were being led away to a police car. I was curious, but we were strangers now. I had no reason to ask why. My now former in-laws, unaware of our divorce, called me in a panic when they heard Chloe had been arrested. "What kind of husband are you?" my ex-father-in-law screamed. "You let her go out drinking with another man at night. If you had just picked her up that night, she wouldn't have been driving drunk." From his tirade, I pieced together what happened. The night Leo arrived in town, he and Chloe had gone out drinking and clubbing. They had taken turns racing the car down the street. A disoriented Leo ran a red light and hit a homeless man crossing the street, sending him flying. Drunk, he thought he'd just hit a stray cat. He took Chloe home and dropped the car off for repairs the next day as if nothing had happened. The homeless man died in the hospital 2 days later. The police used traffic cameras to identify Leo as the driver. "We're divorced," I said calmly, cutting him off. "Her problems are no longer my concern." He didn't believe me, continuing to curse me out. I sent him a picture of the divorce certificate. That only made him angrier. "When you couldn't have children, Chloe fought with me, threatened to cut off ties with me, all to defend you. Now that she's in trouble, not only do you not help her, you divorce her. Do you have a conscience?" I sent him my recent medical report. "There's nothing wrong with me. The reason we couldn't have children is because your daughter didn't want to. She lied to you, and she lied to me, making me believe I was sterile. I've been carrying that weight for years. I haven't even begun to settle that score with her. Why would I feel any loyalty to her now?" He had nothing left to say. He hung up. The night I left the city, the story of Leo's fatal hit and run and Chloe's subsequent attempt to take the fall for him became a major news story. The traffic camera footage was crystal clear. Drunk or not, he ran a red light and killed someone. Prison was inevitable. Chloe hadn't been tested for alcohol, so there was no proof she was driving drunk. She could have gotten away with a fine and points on her license. But in a bizarre act of devotion, she insisted she was the one driving. She resisted the police, arguing with them, even biting an officer's arm. The moment she assaulted an officer, the nature of the crime changed. She was sentenced to 2 months in jail. I had no idea her feelings for Leo ran so deep. I couldn't understand her desperate need to go to jail, but I respected her choice. News of her imprisonment spread like wildfire. The company's emergency PR couldn't contain the damage. My ex-father-in-law took over the company again, but it was no use. Clients pulled their contracts, the stock plummeted. The company, already teetering from Chloe's recent negligence, was on the verge of collapse. With his daughter in jail and his company in ruins, my ex-father-in-law had a stroke and was hospitalized. Leo was expelled from school. No need to find a ghostwriter for his thesis now. Things seemed to be settling down, but the story was just getting started. As netizens dug deeper, it was discovered that Leo's undergraduate thesis was plagiarized. The university revoked his degree. 7 years of his life, wasted, and a pair of silver handcuffs to show for it. As the story went viral, Chloe's old classmates began to talk. It turned out she and Leo were childhood neighbors and had dated for a while. Leo was under 18 at the time, and both families disapproved of the age gap. When Chloe was a sophomore, Leo's family sent him abroad, forcing them to break up. The night she was crying on the basketball court when I found her, it was because of him. A friend shared all these juicy details with me. "You have nothing to say?" he asked, seeing my calm expression. I shook my head. It was all in the past. It's better to look forward. 2 months later, I got a call from an unknown number. "Alex, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong now. After 2 months in there, I finally realized the person I love is you, not Leo." I hung up before she could finish and blocked the number. A few days later, she was waiting outside my office. "Alex," she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. "Give me another chance. I'll be a good wife. I'll support you. I'll love you." If she had said those words 3 months ago, we wouldn't have divorced. I had given her so many chances, but she had never seen them, never wanted them. "We don't need another chance," I said, my voice flat. "Because I don't love you anymore. I heard everything you and Leo said that night. About you not wanting children, about the whole scam. I heard it all." She froze, her mouth open, but no words came out. She turned and walked away. I never saw her again. I heard her company finally went bankrupt. The baby she was carrying with Leo was aborted. She moved away and lost contact with everyone. As for me, I went to Italy to continue my studies, to finally see the Vatican Museum with my own eyes. In that foreign land, I found myself again, and I met a Chinese girl whose eyes were full of only me. 5 years later, I returned home with my wife and my daughter, ready to start a new life.